Welcome to Cold Brew Finance's U.S. End of Week Deep Dive, covering market moves in indexes, sectors, stocks, and global markets for the week ending Friday, October 10th, 2025. Kicking things off, I'm Max Profit. Key indexes were all down this week despite recent record highs. The Nasdaq Composite Index maintains a very strong positive trend, closing at 22,204, down 576 points. The Russell 2000 Index and the S&P 400 MidCap Index saw the steepest declines of 3.2% and 3.8% respectively. Market breadth shows significant weakness across all indexes. Notably, the S&P 400 MidCap Index showed particularly bearish signals with only 106 advances versus 292 declines for the week. The Nasdaq Composite reflected similar weakness, with decliners outpacing advancers by nearly 300 issues. Daily returns highlight the week's downward pressure. The S&P 400 MidCap experienced the largest daily decline, averaging negative 0.78% per day this week. Year-to-date, the Nasdaq Composite leads with a 15% total return. Looking at long-term performance, the Nasdaq Composite shows the strongest 10-year returns at 16.5% annually. The S&P 500 and Dow follow with 12.5% and 10.3% annual returns respectively over the same period.
Checking out best and worst performing equities, I'm Penny Stock. Leading the pack, Galecto soared 234% to 12.66, hitting a new yearly high. OneMednet and Quoin Pharmaceuticals both recorded new yearly highs, surging 205% and 185% respectively. The weekly gains were remarkable, with Galecto showing an average daily return of 73%. OneMednet and Quoin Pharmaceuticals maintained strong momentum with month-to-date returns of 240% and 185% respectively. Looking at long-term performance, Galecto showed mixed results with an 83% one-year return, but a negative 3-year rate. OneMednet posted impressive gains of 349% over the past year. In large-cap stocks, Advanced Micro Devices led with a 30.5% weekly gain to 214.90, reaching an all-time high. Dell Technologies and Arista Networks followed with gains near 6%, both hitting new highs. AMD's strong momentum showed in its month-to-date return of 33%. Dell and Arista Networks maintained steady growth with weekly returns around 6% each. Over the long term, AMD shows remarkable strength with a 10-year return of 10,864%. Arista Networks impressed with a 3-year annual return rate of 78%, while Netflix maintained solid growth at 74%. Among declining stocks, Conexa Sports Technologies plunged 92% to 0.19, hitting an all-time low. Dreamland Limited dropped 83%, while EPWK fell 79%, both showing strong downward volatility. The decline intensity is evident in the weekly numbers. Conexa averaged minus 15% daily returns, while Dreamland and EPWK saw daily drops averaging minus 19% and minus 18% respectively. Among the worst performers this week, Conexa Sports Technologies plunged 91.7% to 19 cents, hitting new all-time lows. Dreamland Limited tumbled 83.3% amid strong volatility. EPWK and Lixiang Education both recorded new lows, falling 78.9% and 76.6% respectively. Leading the big cap decliners, Caesars Entertainment dropped 19.8% to hit new yearly lows at 21.86. Seagate Technology fell 15.1% despite maintaining a strong positive trend. Dow slumped 13.3%, recording new all-time lows at 20.65. Weekly returns show significant weakness among large caps. Caesars Entertainment led declines with a 19.8% weekly drop. Seagate Technology lost 15.2% for the week, though maintaining positive year-to-date returns of 148%. Stanley Black & Decker fell 14.6% weekly. Looking at longer-term performance, Dow shows concerning weakness with a 61.5% decline over the past year. Caesars Entertainment has dropped nearly 50% in 12 months. Despite recent drops, Seagate Technology maintains impressive 310% three-year returns.
And now onto U.S. sector performance, where utilities leads the pack with a 1.4% gain and a new all-time high. Technology saw the largest decline, dropping 2.5% despite recording a new all-time high earlier in the week. Both sectors are displaying strong upward volatility with very strong positive trends. Market breadth reveals interesting patterns. Utilities show strong internal strength with advances outpacing declines across all timeframes. Conversely, consumer defensive is experiencing broad weakness with declines significantly outnumbering advances in the past week. Looking at recent returns, utilities leads with a 3.3% gain month to date. Communication services shows the largest decline at minus 3.4% MTD. Year to date, technology and communication services are both up nearly 20%. In long-term performance, technology dominates with a 10-year annual rate of return of 23%. Communication services shows strong 3-year performance with a 35.6% annual return. Consumer defensive trails with just 5.5% annual return over the past decade.
Utility stocks show impressive strength with multiple consecutive weekly gains. Southern and Atmos Energy both reached new all-time highs, while Exelon extended its winning streak to 4 weeks. All 5 leading utilities are experiencing strong upward trends with notable volatility. Month-to-date returns highlight NextEra Energy's outperformance with a 10.4% gain. Exelon leads year-to-date performance among these utilities with a 25% return, while Atmos Energy follows closely with a 26.7% gain. Looking at long-term performance, NextEra Energy stands out with a 126.7% average annual return over 10 years. Atmos Energy shows strong consistency with an 11.6% annual rate of return over the same period, while Southern maintains steady growth at 8.1% annually.
Examining the weakest sectors this week, energy led declines, falling 3.9% with a negative trend. Consumer cyclical and real estate each dropped 3.3%, with real estate showing strong downward volatility. Basic materials also experienced significant weakness. Market breadth confirms the weakness, with decliners heavily outnumbering advancers. Consumer cyclical showed 371 declining stocks versus just 111 advancing. Real estate had nearly 200 decliners against only 37 advancers, while financial services saw 484 stocks decline versus 129 advancing. Weekly returns highlight the broad selling pressure. Energy posted the largest decline at minus 4%, followed by consumer cyclical and real estate, both down 3.3%. Despite recent weakness, year-to-date returns remain slightly positive for most sectors. Looking at longer-term performance, consumer cyclical leads with a 10-year annual return of 11.5%. Financial services follows at 10.7%. Energy and real estate show more modest gains of 2.6% and 3.3% respectively.
Energy stocks faced significant pressure this week, with broad declines across the sector. Schlumberger hit a new one-year low, dropping 7.4% amid strong downward volatility. APA led the declines, falling 10.5%, while Halliburton dropped 9.6%. The week's pressure on energy stocks is reflected in negative returns across all time frames. Halliburton shows the steepest year-to-date decline at minus 19.2%. Month-to-date, Halliburton and APA are both down roughly 10%. Long-term performance shows mixed results. Baker Hughes stands out with positive returns across all time frames, including a 101% gain over 3 years. In contrast, Schlumberger has declined 58% over the past decade, with an 8.4% annual rate of decline.
Thanks for watching. I'm Max Profit, along with my AI co-host Penny Stock. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Cold Brew Finance is an experimental project with market reports written, narrated, and delivered totally by AI, with market data kindly provided by financialmodelingprep.com. Always seek professional financial advice before making any investment decisions. Check into the channel daily for coverage of stocks, crypto, currency, and commodities. Thanks for watching.